So you've been looking at Protocol H on behalf of the team. What are you most excited about?
Personally, I am really excited about the on-chain views. Um, like as a contract developer, I think smart contract developer, I think that's going to be pretty useful. Currently, if we want to actually view something so I'll just give an introduction to what is going on right now and why it is important. So currently what we have right now is if you want to view data on a different contract like a external contract, we need to make a call to that contract, and that contract then makes a call back to us. And basically it means that you need to have multiple entry points and some kind of state management between these different contract calls and stuff, which is pretty complex when when you're making complex contracts that have multiple such view calls to different stuff, right? So this view on-chain view feature would allow you to basically just make a synchronous call to the external contract and get the data immediately, and use that as use the value in the same entry point itself. So it makes it much more simple. You don't have to do this state management between different contact calls and stuff anymore. So it's pretty useful. So I'm pretty excited about that specifically. Yeah, like, and apart from that, there's obviously other improvements that ProtoEdge brings in. So we have the um, uh, time lock feature that is coming in, which we are still like I'm still exploring like what are the possible use cases that might come in. But in general, there are already projects that might benefit from it. So there are projects like options that use seal bids and stuff, which would probably benefit from this inbuilt time lock feature that is being provided right now. So yeah, so these are the two most important features, like I think would be pretty important for me at least.
So views kind of bring us or bring Tezos on parity with Ethereum and other chains, right,
Yep,
in terms of ease of development. But would you
absolutely.
say time locks are something that set Tezos apart? Like, is that something that generally other chains don't have?
So as far as I know, there is no inbuilt time lock feature in Ethereum, at least, like how we are doing, right? Like how Tezos is trying to put it. So I guess that's a unique feature, but at the same time, like the use cases that come up for it would be probably like it's not impossible to implement time lock without having a on-chain like inbuilt time lock feature. So other chains could possibly, other projects could possibly do a time lock thing without actually having this. So it's not impossible to do it on other chains also, but at the same time having it in the protocol itself makes it much simpler and accessible for everybody.
Yeah, I think that shows some of the promise of on-chain governance. And with every passing protocol upgrade, we see some new sort of built-in features that really start differentiating the Tezos platform. Uh, Anything else in there in the protocol that you want to mention, Shomu?
So I another thing that I remember is the new caching mechanism that they have added for the contracts. So according to the like documentation that I've read, it should help speed up stuff obviously, and reduce the gas costs for some popular contracts that are being regularly hit. So it's kind of useful for the users from one point, like they have to pay less for the popular contracts that they are regularly calling. So it could be a useful thing.
Yeah. Is there a concern at all that because it's almost like a most recently used cache, there's going to be a sort of bias towards established protocols? So uh, if you already have a liquidity pool, or if you already have something like Plenty, which is being used by so many people, they they get a sort of natural advantage over, or any incumbents like Plenty get a natural advantage over newcomers who might, for argument's sake, they might have better technology, but they have a performance hit just because they're not as popular. Is there any winner take all effect that's possible due to caching?
So actually, when I think of it now that you mention it, it might be possible that there's some, so according to the documentation itself, the contracts that are in the cache itself has some, you know, gas optimizations that other contracts that are not in the cache, have, right? Uh, so that might cause some disparity in gas fees, but at the same time, it would be like I probably would need to take a deeper look into the product, like how it's implemented itself, to understand that if there are cases where other contracts which are not in the cache would be hit with higher gas fees or something, or comparatively higher gas fees. But there might be a chance where such scenarios happen where there's a disparity between contracts that are on the cache and basically popular contracts and contracts that are coming in new, like projects that are coming in new. So there might be a case. Yeah, that might be possible.
Awesome. Yeah. I think no better way to really understand this and get the answers than bring up uh, Hangzhou infrastructure in our backend and start playing with it. So that'll be really interesting to see. Whether there's a genuine concern or not, we'll find out. I think we need to sort of delve into this a little bit more. But again, nothing better than bringing up a node and playing with it, which is always the nice thing about blockchain technology. Um, cool. Any last thoughts about Hangzhou? Anyone else got thoughts on Hangzhou?
Yeah, sorry, I was on mute. Views are really a big deal. It will significantly simplify smart contract construction. It will make it easier to reason about the logic of the smart contract, because right now you have to break up the flow of your code into multiple pieces to callbacks. And if I understand it correctly, with views, you no longer have to do that. It'll just make it so much easier to read contracts, that to audit contracts, and obviously to compose your own. Can't wait. That, I mean, that alone has huge implications.
Yeah, I would strongly agree. Uh, so there's good reasons why Tezos has a slightly different architecture for smart contracts calling each other. Um, so reentrancy has been a big problem in smart contract design on Ethereum. Quite a few hacks have been related to reentrancy, so that's why Tezos was architected a little bit differently. But the trade-off has been that it makes sometimes, maybe even often, makes smart contract development awkward, because the whole idea with DeFi and other things like it is composability, right? And composability has been more challenging. So views really ease that burden, and this is something that we've been looking forward to for quite some time. And I think it's going to make our lives significantly easier.